Hello everybody, this is Mr. Nardelli. I'm coming to you tonight to talk to you about solving inequalities. Solving inequalities are very similar to solving equalities. Remember the equations we had that were like 2x plus 1 equals 5 and you solved for x. Here you just have a greater than or less than or greater than equal to less than equal to sign. Now the only difference is you have to, when you divide by a negative coefficient, you change the inequality sign. So, for example, if I have a simple equation such as this one, 2x plus 5 is greater than 9. Notice it's a greater than symbol instead of equals. So I'm going to go ahead and solve it the same way. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. My new equation will say now 2x is greater than 4. Now, on both sides of the equation, I'm dividing by a positive number, positive 2, and I will get an answer of x is greater than 2. Be sure that you write your answer this way. Don't just write 2. If you do that, it would be incorrect. Okay, now let's talk about, I'll get there, this equation. Now I've written it on both sides because I'm going to show you both ways to solve it. And first let me put a box in over here. Okay, I'm going to show you, if you remember in my original description said if you divide by a negative coefficient, you change the inequality sign. Sometimes you can avoid that. So say for example I have this equation, 4x plus 3 is greater than 6x minus 7. So what I'm going to do is look at it and ask myself, which side should I put the x on? If I subtract 4x from both sides and subtract 4x from this side, I'm going to get a positive x. So if I do it that way, I'm going to get a positive x. Now, if I subtract 6x from both sides, let me do that one last. Well, no, I'll do it now. If I subtract 6x from both sides, here's what's going to happen. So first on my left side, I'm going to go ahead and solve this one at the end. Hold on a second. Cover that guy up. So I chose to subtract 4x from both sides, and on the left side I've got 3. On the right side, I've got 2x minus 7. Notice the equation still says greater than. The only thing is my x is on the right side. So now I'm going to have to eliminate minus 7. So what I'm going to do now is add 7 to both sides. When I add 7 to the right, it cancels out. When I add it to the left, I get 10. So I'm going to end up with 10 is greater than 2x. Now my next step would be to divide by 2. I'm dividing by a positive 2, so I don't change this inequality. So then I'll end up getting an answer of 5 is greater than x. Go ahead and leave your answer that way. You don't need to change it to x is less than 5. If you do, that's okay. Now let's say you just went the other way. Watch what happens here. If I said, well, I want my x's on the left side, so I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. 4 minus 6 on the left gives me, let me scroll down, negative 2x plus 3 is greater than negative 7. Notice what happened. My 6x's are gone, and my x over here becomes a negative 2x. Now, I need to get rid of the plus 3, so I'm naturally going to subtract 3 from both sides. The 3's cancel out on the left. On the right side, I end up with negative 10. Let me get that for you. Yeah. So my equation looks oddly similar to this, but it's negative 2x is greater than negative 10. So now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. So I'm dividing by a negative. That's where I have to flip this sign. So it now says greater than. It's going to become the opposite, or go the other way, less than. And I have a negative 10 divided by negative 2 gives me 5. My answer is x is less than positive 5. And notice how both of these are basically the same thing. You can give me either one on a test. Both are correct. Okay, now if you have an equation such as this, negative 6x is greater than 36. You have no choice here. You have to divide by -6. So this is where you have to remember the rule. I'll divide by -6, so that means I need to flip the sign around, the inequality, and my answer is x is less than -6, because 36 divided by -6 is -6, and I flip this sign around. If you have any more questions, feel free to email me at nardelli.efsc@gmail.com. Thanks.